Hello, my name is John Oliver. Today is the 15th of October 2011. It's 11:20 p.m. in my apartment in Dallas. This is kind of a overview intro, setting the context, rough, raw thing. I will do many other things that are more prepared and polished and rehearsed, but I need to kind of warm up. I need to kind of get used to um, talking to cameras. I need to get used to thinking these things through and weaving these bits together. Um, this series is about sewing and growing and sewing libraries. Again, growing because it's easier to grow a library than sewing to start a library. It's all about libraries. Really, really important, and I will have many short videos and text things about libraries and their importance. My emphasis is education, particularly continuing education, as well as supplemental academic education. In other words, um, children learning, reading, learning arithmetic, geography, history, all those kinds of subjects that are related directly to their academic assignments, as well as just what they interested or curious about, or give them a more rounded understanding of the world. Adult things like life skills, I was just looking up on Wikipedia about that. There's no one certain um, set of these are all life skills 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Different ones make up different lists, but it's real important and it's related directly to uh, rehab, recovery, prison recidivism. People get messed up because they didn't learn anything about budgeting, time management, goal setting, anger management, conflict resolution, uh, cooking. I mean, people get a little paycheck and they go and spend it all on fast food. They could have spent the same money at a grocery store and gotten twice as much food, more value. They spend all, and so those kinds of things, life skills. I mean, how to. There's life skills at the level of every year we have thousands of refugees that come to the USA, thousands of international students that come to colleges. So some life skills are just cultural things. We have a certain postal system and UPS and FedEx that operates a certain way we've kind of gotten used to, but it's really peculiar to people coming here from Africa or Asia or Europe. So there's life skills in that way. So academics, life skills. Another part of it is Christian education, and I want to be. And here's what gets kind of peculiar in my world. Um, I want to both be unapologetically Christian. I am one. It's important. It's a big part of my life and my history. I'll tell more about that later. But I don't want to be overbearing or crazy. Christians have really bad reputations among non-Christians, and more than half that's deserved. Probably most of it is because self-righteousness and crudeness and rudeness. Sometimes you just didn't know them. I mean, some people have horrible thoughts about homosexuals, don't know any. I know lots of homosexuals, lots of lesbians, and they're sweet, neat people. I mean, they really, really are. I don't necessarily agree or condone their lifestyle, but they're some of the nicest people, much nicer than a lot of church people I've known. That's just a fact. Um, but where my heart is currently, which is real important, I'll give a lot more about this later, is an interest in the bottom billion. There's about 7 billion people on the planet, and of the bottom billion live on much less than $1 a day, and so they have issues with water and sanitation, and starvation, and preventable diseases and stuff like that. So we can know that, and it's the whole issue about giving a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him fish for a lifetime. So how can I teach the fishing? And that could be some to do with that. Of course, I don't know how to fish in Asia or Africa or the Ganges, but there's others along the Amazon or the Ganges or the Yellow River that know fishing techniques that could be understood, videotaped, diagrammed, and sometimes the issue is, and there's a man from Ghana I met, international student, that the maize or the root crops would come in, or the beans would come in. And so when during a big harvest, the price of that crop is really low in the market. But a few months later, the price jumps way back up. The issue, one of the issues was to if they could just keep the product, the produce, for a few months, in a way that kept away rodents and insects and rot, then they could feed themselves and take it back to the market and make a profit. So they just didn't need to understand how to preserve produce. Same thing with one of the issues I came across was milk, goat's milk, cow's milk, camel's milk, all kinds of milks. It doesn't last long, but if you can quickly make it into cheese or yogurt or curds, or refrigerate it in a few cases, then and get it to market quickly, then so you can. That's a technology. That's a skill set that can be taught. If a person can teach it, I don't have to know it. If a person can teach it to another person one-on-one, an individual can teach it or has taught it to a group. If I can be recorded, audio, video, text, like this, cheap camera. Then it can be translated to different languages. It can be recorded, stored, and transferred. That's the whole process I'm going to talk about. How to get it from the capital city, the NGOs, the Department of Health, Department of Education, Department of whatever, sanitation, down into the villages, down into the ghettos, down into the prisons, down into the orphanages. How to trickle that thing along using online, offline technology in a sophisticated, coordinated way. So that's what the flow chart is. I'm going to talk about here shortly. One way to describe it, and I want to break this off because I want to try to keep it in short little units, is that there are an overabundance of orphans on the planet. Just multiple tens of millions of children with no parents that are starving, they're in trouble, they're and some in orphanages, some are on the streets, whatever. And to go to orphanage, it costs money. They can't. So there's lots of orphans. There's also lots of teenagers that are feeling purposeless, lost, and they're digitally natives and they're savvy to these things, and they can teach, they can contribute to the orphans through this system I'm going to show you. How can they do that? Well, can they teach colors and numbers and spelling? Can they teach geography? Can they teach, and what the kids need to know about? I don't know. I mean, and so how to make the teenagers into teachers of children. That's a real good dynamic, is teens teaching children, both offline here in the U.S. as well as through the digital connection bridge to people over there. And so it's about putting that out, requesting it, getting back audio, video, text, tagging it, indexing it, cataloging it, making it available. An SD card is about as big as a postage stamp, 32 gigabytes. A terabyte, 1,000 gigabytes is a device that's about this big, about 3 inches by 3 inches by half an inch. USB connection. No surplus power. Terabyte. That's 20,000 hours of audio. That's a college. I mean, all the professors at college a whole year are not going to say 20,000 hours. And probably, Lord knows how many bazillion pages of PDFs that is. The price of that is $100 for the hardware. And once I make it and load up, then I can send it out there. And I mean, those things I want to line up, and you'll see more about that later. So not only the youth, but also missionaries, church planters, seniors, retired people, experts in fields, teachers, librarians, how to connect the body of Christ, and people not the Christians. I mean, I'm not just only Christians oriented. I mean, I don't want kids to die. I don't want people to lose their sight because they didn't know how to wash their eyes when dust got in it. Or, you know, there's so many knowledge pieces, skill pieces. There are people that prison recidivism. There's people that keep going back to prison because when they get out, finally, they can't get a job because they don't know how to read. They just don't know basic literacy. and some prisons offer GREs, and so how can we supplement and assist and contribute to that? I don't know today, but I know how to design the system, the what call the pipelines that you'll see. And we're at 10 minutes, which is a long time for that much of jabbering. Thanks so much. I need to come with some clever ending. I will someday. Thanks, bye.